12, Jacinda Ardern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question to the Minister of Social Development and Employment: does she stand by her statement that, quote, "this is about working together to maintain the highest possible levels of employment while we weather the downturn? We need to have a combined approach that is pragmatic, respectful and effective"?
Mr. Speaker, yes, and I recently met with the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs, where we hotly debated how best to join forces to tackle youth unemployment. We're constantly challenging each other to find better ways that policy can enable local solutions.
Jacinda Ardern.
Question to the Minister: how would she describe her current relationship with the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs, who represent all but 3 of the country's 67 mayors?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, very good. To the point where I would say that just a few days after the meeting, Mayor Frano Cardno of Southland was quoted in the Southland Times a week after the meeting saying, quote, "We congratulate central government for recognising the importance of our youth programmes," end quote.
Jacinda Ardern.
To the Minister: can she explain why the minutes of the last meeting of the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs note that the mayors were, quote, "extremely disappointed in the response from the Minister and the disrespect with which they had been treated"?
Order.
Mr. Speaker.
Before I ask, I'm not sure that the Minister has responsibility for the minutes of another organisation. I invite the member maybe to reword her question, because I just think we've got to be a little careful not to allow questions to expand too widely. I'm sure she could bring it within the standing orders. Jacinda Ardern.
I'll rephrase the question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is she aware of the last minutes from the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs meeting, which note that the mayors were, quote, "extremely disappointed in the response from the Minister and the disrespect with which they had been treated"?
Mr. Speaker, yes, and as I say, I can't take responsibility for a minute taker, but I can take responsibility for the mayors that I have spoken to. It's okay.
Order.
But I can actually quote back to the member about the mayors that I've spoke to since the meeting who did not feel that way.
Jacinda Ardern.
The Minister: does she believe that her dismissal of 12 months' worth of work by the mayors into a youth transition policy, questioning what they, quote, "brought to the table" and accusing them of being a lobby group with pet projects, has damaged her ability to work with local government on youth unemployment?
Mr. Speaker, as previously said, I think that those minutes are not a true accurate record of what happened at the meeting. In fact, we've been working very closely with mayors. I can bring an example of the Auckland social policy. I could also bring another example of what we've recently been doing in Christchurch and the work there with councils. And certainly I value the work of the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs, which has been mentioned many times.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Jacinda Ardern.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to table the core group minutes of the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs,
order,
dated 10th of March 2011.
Leave us sought to table that document. Is there any objection? Well, there is objection. That brings to a close questions for oral answer.